Welcome to Legal and Wealthy, the podcast for lawyers who are ready to stop playing small and start building true wealth and a career and life of their dreams, powerfully and purposefully. Whether you're a law student, new associate, or seasoned attorney, this show is for those who are ready to take charge of their law career in a new way. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, attorney, law firm owner, professor, and founder of Legal and Wealthy. Here, we don't just practice law, we practice liberation and becoming wealthy attorneys. Because being a great lawyer shouldn't come at the cost of your time, your peace, or your financial freedom. Every week, you'll get the strategy, mindset, and wealth building guidance that law school never gave you. So you can go from just surviving your career to building a legacy through it. Let's get to work. Welcome back to another episode of Legal and Wealthy. I'm your host, Lauren Klein. I feel like this episode has been a long time coming. It's like when you have a good friend and then you figure out you should be good friends with their friends. But I'm so excited to welcome Francesca Witzburg, the founder and managing partner of ESCA Legal, a modern intellectual property and brand protection firm built for founders and creators and global companies with a very impressive client base of popular brands, high net worth clients, and Hollywood talent. I'm so excited to hear all about Francesca's journey. I feel like I already know you because I've followed you for so long and we have mutual friends, but I'm so excited. But before we dive in, I have something really special that I wanted to share with you, Francesca, and with everyone listening. I have a note from your dear friend, Brittany Holloway, aka Lawyer Britt, that she sent me. So I think it's going to set the tone perfectly for our conversation. So this is from Brittany. She said, Francesca is one of those rare people who combines unwavering determination with deep self-awareness. What I admire most about her is her resilience. She doesn't just push through challenges, she actively works to understand and eliminate the limiting beliefs standing between her and her vision. She's reimagining what modern brand protection looks like, leveraging technology and innovation to serve founders, creators, and global companies in ways traditional firms have not. Where others see barriers, Francesca sees possibility, and she's building something truly remarkable because of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You're going to make me cry. That totally caught me off guard.
Well, she loves you so much, and I have been very impressed and inspired with you over the years. We started our firms at the same time, and I've seen what you're doing, what you're building while being a mom and just trying to get through this crazy thing called life. So let's just start from the beginning. I know a lot of people's goal and dream is to be in big law, and you got there, but something shifted. I'd love to hear what shifted and what got you to where you are today.
I think when you're young and don't have kids, number one, that your life is very different. And it's actually why I'm very careful on who I follow for business advice, and seeing if they have families or if they have priorities outside of work, because to balance being a parent and a high performing professional takes a lot of skill. It's a skill in and of itself. So before I had kids, I was grinding away in New York City, big law. I billed 2,000 hours one year. Sorry, I billed 2,500 hours one year. 2,000 was the base requirement to bill, on top of non-billables. And so what does that really mean when I say that? Lawyers know what that is, but maybe you've never worked in big law or you're not a lawyer. That means essentially you are working from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and weekends, right? Like it's like hardcore, almost like private equity, venture capital type hours. So, how sustainable is that? I think that's the question that no one really wants to answer, but the reality is a lot of people burn out, and you either make a partner and it was okay, I got through, great, let me move forward, or people move in-house, or a minority of people do kind of what I did, was taking a gamble and a bet on myself in building my own personal brand to build my own book of business. So that's kind of where I saw the shift. Was once I had my child, I realized, like, wow, if I stay here, it was before COVID, it was before a lot of the changes and the flexibility. But I realized, okay, if I'm getting on a bus at 6 a.m. and I'm getting home at 9 p.m., I will not see my kids until Saturday. And if I had to work on Saturdays, like, what kind of life is that? And I know a lot of people actually did it. A lot of people are still doing it. And I'm not saying that that is right or wrong. My husband and I, we committed to it. We were committed to living that life. But when COVID hit, I had my son 2 months early during the peak of the pandemic.
Wow.
So it was just such this like crazy existential period of time that forced me to think about my life and the direction I wanted to go and how I wanted to live. And that was the moment where I realized, okay, I really am grateful for that journey. I learned so much. I say that I basically did 2-a-days by the amount of work that I've done. Why don't I get a little bit of a lifestyle change where I could still continue to grow my book and my brand and do really high level work, but in a way that was more flexible for the time that I needed. So that was really the shift of me thinking, okay, maybe I don't have to work this very rigid set schedule that frankly was not made with women and parents in mind. Maybe I can work in a different environment where I could have more flex time. So Lauren, like literally, I would get up at 4 a.m. I'd be working by 4:30, and I would get through, and you're nodding because like people who have kids, like this is the game, right? You do stuff before your kids wake up. So then you're not like behind the ball. And then you do what you need to do to get them settled, get their needs met, get them out the door, and then you can log in. But then after, kids have to get picked up, whether it's daycare or school. So there needs to be the flexibility around 3:00, right? Or you can outsource it, or you can have help, which these are all good things, but they need to be considered. And then maybe you log in when they're asleep. Or for me, it was I went to bed when they went to bed, which at that time it was like 7 at night. I would be in bed at like 7:30, but then I would get up really early, like 4, with my coffee or a matcha, and just that alone time, that several hours in the morning when you're not being interrupted, you're not being pulled into different calls. It was actually the reason why I ended up starting my firm, was because I was able to get so much work done during that morning, like substantive legal work. And then I used the day to brand build, do marketing, social media. We all know how much, social media took, especially at the beginning.
Yeah. This episode of Legal and Wealthy is brought to you by Law Firm Sites. Law Firm Sites has been building custom websites and providing online marketing for law firms for over 23 years. They are good at what they do because that's all that they do. If you are looking to expand the reach of your firm or just improve your online presence, Law Firm Sites has the team to do it. Go to lawfirmsites.com or call 1-800-932-8242 and mention Legal and Wealthy to receive 10% off any of their website or marketing packages. This is what no one talks about, I mean, you set the alarm, you get out of bed, you don't want to do it, but then the amount of work that you can get done in that time period, and then you can be present with your family,
Totally.
at least for a little bit, and you don't feel like the monkey is on your back. But I think this is what I know you share about it. I've seen videos of you with your coffee, and I think you have the treadmill, right? or you had the
Yeah,
treadmill at some point.
I
Yeah.
have everything. I have all the stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be at this computer,
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
the
want to
it's
end up like hunched
entrepreneurship is
over.
not oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
It's not always glamorous. You know, it's hard work, especially in the beginning, but I think it's so worth it.
It's worth it because you know that people say like you trade a 9 to 5 for 24/7 as an entrepreneur, but and please, it's like getting kicked every day. You know, anybody who's an entrepreneur, it's not glamorous. It's really grueling and it's really stressful and it's a lot of work, but it's different. And for me, it's more rewarding. It feels more rewarding because I'm not just working for a paycheck and I'm not just making somebody else wealthy. I really am. We're working towards a mission. We're really building
Yes.
something that's very different. And so even though my employees may be employees, I'm still instilling on them to be owners, to really own their work, build connections with their clients. I encourage them to even originate some work so they understand what really being an owner is like and having like that revenue motivation versus just baseline salary. But more importantly, I think, you know, Steve Jobs said this when he was interviewed a long time ago. He said, we're building a team. I think a lot of lawyers think, oh, I need an associate or I need a paralegal and they're dispensable, right? That's not what's happening here. We're creating a culture and an environment where our team feels like this is something that's mission work, building this next gen law firm that can rewrite the rules on how we live and how we work and how we service clients.
How big is your team now?
I think we're 15. I have a new litigator starting in March. I think we're about 15. It comes and goes with like interns or, you know, we've had some people who've left and have gone on to doing like what they wanted, but they realized like maybe trademarks isn't for them, and we totally support them because it gives us the ability to get really clear on who we are and what we want.
Yeah.
So that's just like a random side note for anybody who, like, if you've lost an employee or you think, oh, what could I have done better? Use it as an exercise to think, okay, what am I looking for in an employee of my company? What do we stand for? What are their values? How do they work? I got so granular, and lawyer Britt actually helped me with this. Britt is my friend, but she's a client, but she's also my business coach. So we got really granular when our litigation partner left on, okay, what are we really looking for in that employee? We realized we want a trademark focused person. We want somebody who knows brands, retail, fashion, consumer products, understands TikTok and Instagram, because this is where the digital economy is. I even got so granular on where they lived and like what their lifestyle is like, and all that, you know, you could take with a grain of salt.
Wow.
But I think the more
that's
clear,
cool.
and we literally ended up, I found this person, and once I met her and I had a conversation with her, I couldn't believe, like, I matched the description with her. So, you know, it could have been a sad thing, but it really made us get really clear on what we're looking for and how to get aligned with that.
It's really cool. Really cool. I love that. You kind of did an employee vision board in a way.
Yeah, it's all these things I think that lawyers forget, that this is a business, right? Of course, there's the bar and we're held to a higher standard and we're definitely in a league of its own, but it is still a business, and understanding that a business has a mission statement, it has values, it attracts certain people, it repels certain people. What is the brand? All these things they've been so critical to the growth and the success of our firm, because rather than go out and just be like everybody else or be this very generic version of what, you know, what you're supposed to think a New York City law firm is like, we came in and decided to create a brand concept of what's the ideal client, what industries are they in, how can we meet them where they are, and kind of reverse engineering that. Okay, this is our avatar, these are the clients we serve. What kind of people are going to be best to serve that client. We have a lot of really young, hungry, fun, engaging young people who really want to help create the firm that is the next gen. So yeah, we hire a lot of young people.
I love it. And walk us through what is, I know you have kind of a niche practice, but also a wide array of high net worth individuals and celebrities and brands. Like, what is a typical client for you, or like your favorite client?
So I've thought about this question a lot, because how do you intersect entertainment, retail, consumer products, fashion, luxury, high net worth individuals, right? There's so many different categories. Even we have a very big global brand energy drink client. So what's the nexus? It's the brand. Building a brand is something that we're not just representing service-based companies or product-based companies. Do these businesses really care about their brand, their names? Because that's the trademark, right? We're a trademark-centric firm. But what else about the brand? Their colors, the interior of their retail stores, their website layout, how they design their products and their product packaging. All of those things are technically a part of the brand, and similarly, they could be trademarks. Trade dress is a subset of trademark law that actually protects the product design itself or the product packaging. And with that, it's not just product packaging. A product packaging could be, like I've mentioned, the interior of a store or the exterior of a restaurant. So we really try to work with businesses and people who have that brand and thinking creatively on how we can go beyond the basic word mark. Like, that's trademark 101. Your accountant can help you, tell you to do a trademark, but why do you need ESCA Legal? It's really thinking, okay, my whole value is in my brand. And if I lost my brand, or if I was getting copied and the aesthetic was stolen, I would be devastated. So we would drill down to figure out, well, what is so identifiable and distinct about what you've built that we can go and use all of the IP tools that are in our toolbox to protect the company.
It's amazing. And what I'm hearing, and I think is, if you hadn't done that within your own firm and done the work to say, who is our ideal client? What is our mission statement? What is our brand? I don't think your clients would feel as close and supported if you hadn't done that work yourself. And I think that's what often big law misses. It just feels cold. It can feel very transactional, as opposed to, we are a brand as well. We're the experts in this area, but we're a brand ourselves. So we get it. We understand what you're going through and how to protect what you've built or what you're building.
100%. It's super helpful. We've also I have in-house experience. I was seconded at a big luxury firm. I was seconded at a global streetwear brand. I interned at Prada, Tory Burch, Diamonds International. Like I've had so much experience actually sitting in-house with the business that I can't just operate like in a vacuum, giving somebody a legal report with 10 pages on why they can't do something. Like, that's trash. It needs to be high-level summary. Here's the 3 options. We recommend number 2 because of XYZ. Here's the cost. Please confirm. Click the link if you want to have a call to discuss more, or look below and see attached for more info. Like, boom.
Boom.
That is what your busy CEO or your busy in-house counsel is dealing with. They're looking on their phone in between meetings. They need the gist. They have to trust that you're giving them options and you're helping them get to where they want to go. And if it's something that's so ridiculous that the client wants to do, you can say, this is high risk, here's why, but then say also how they can minimize the risk. Give them options to work with. So I think having that experience has been critical. Angela Cox, my patent partner, came from Hewlett Packard, so she was in-house. Nicole Dolgan came from in-house. She was at Party City Ellen DeGeneres. So I think like that's the other, and I'm the business owner too on top of all that, right? So I think we try to take really complex legal concepts and translate them. Like if you ever put into ChatGPT something, you ask it a question, then you say, okay, dumb this down as if you're talking to like a third grader, and a third grader can understand. It's kind of what we'll do. Not that we're dealing with people who are on a third grade reading level, but if you can't break it down into succinct, easy to understand ways, then you've done a bad job. And I think that's something I've accepted more and more in my career is, you know, you go to lawyer events and you hear these people on stage and they're just rambling about the intricacies and using jargon. And it's just, you know, and I used to think when I was a young attorney, like, wow, they're so smart, I'm so dumb. If you cannot, if you're on stage and your job is to communicate something and the person in the seat is not able to understand you, you've failed. So I think for lawyers in 2026, being able to communicate and translate things is very critical. So I would say that's one of the areas where we're different. And also I think by going through the exercise of being really clear about our brand and having a brand. Most law firms, it's, of course they have their logos and they have colors, right? But the brand can fit in with all the other brands that are, you know, the firm brands that are in that city or in that location. I don't really think they've done a great job at creating like a personality because, you know, for a long time, having a personality is not a good thing. You want to be this one type of attorney so that you feel like you're professional. But, you know, Lauren, like you and I started leveraging Instagram and social media. I think like the key to succeed in that environment is picking, like, be authentic, be a brand, pick a personality, like be definitive in who you are. And I think we've done that. And the feedback has been that this is refreshing. I've been hearing that from a lot of the traditional lawyers because it was really scary at first to do this and leave that world. But then all of a sudden we were like getting such great feedback from people and a lot of mentors, competitors, and colleagues in other firms have been so kind in their feedback. So it kind of kept us going.
Yeah, and you see that it's working, and you'll hear the feedback from the clients that they don't feel like they're just meeting with their lawyer. Yes, they know you're supporting them from a legal perspective, but feel seen. You know, they don't feel like they're being talking down to or talked at. They feel like you're one of them, and I think that lets people in one way let their guard down, and then also feel incredibly supported knowing you have that expertise. But you don't have to use the jargon. You don't have to make them feel stupid. You know you're smart. They know you're smart. They just want to know, how are you going to help me? How are you going to protect me?
I think at the end of the day, you, of course, you know, our lawyers all have the pedigree. They went to good schools. They were either at big companies or in big law. I think there was such value in having that because you really go through a lot to be able to build up that experience. But now it's like, okay, we've done that. How can we take what we've done and still perform at that high level and deliver that high quality service? How can we do it in a way that's not just more authentic, but just easier, and offering a better service in how we meet with clients?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What would you say your biggest lesson has been, you know, scaling your firm in really a fairly short period of time to a team of around 15? What is the biggest lesson or takeaway you've learned?
Hire top talent. What does that mean? Hire people who have the experience, but who are hungry and want what you want, which is why getting really clear on your values, your vision, who your clients are, the cases you want are really important because you don't want to hire the wrong person and figure out, oh, well, they don't want to do trademark law. They want to do, you know, something different. Like, figure that out, get really clear on that process. And then, because what you need to do to grow fast is delegate. So I would get somebody in, train them. I have them sit with me on Zoom or Teams. We record. I'm sharing my screen and I'm walking them through the trademark search report. We then take that, we transcribe it, we turn it into a written SOP. We have a document with all of our templates and our SOPs, and we just keep adding to that. So then when the next person comes in, they can watch all those videos. I don't need to take more of my time. And the AI, Lauren, is so next level now. We're going to launch this. I have a podcast that's coming out. It was me, Tally, Goody, and lawyer Britt. We were on our mastermind call, and we invited Adam, my husband, to come in to speak, who was talking about AI. And he basically told us that the next level of AI is training AI agents on skills. You're basically going to train the AI on an actual skill. So you can train it to take the way you do things, train the AI so that it's not just like SOP or tips in a Word doc. Now it's in a model that you can ask that questions, and it's going to perform based on your brain. So I think that as we grow and scale, the top takeaway to answer your question is hire really good people, because then you have to delegate quickly to move out. And then that person needs to delegate their job to someone so then they can move up. And once you do that, you can create an environment where you're able to scale quickly.
Who was your first hire when you started the firm?
So technically the first employee was my husband, Adam. He was the one during COVID when I was like, I need a change. I want to do something different. I want to be with my kids. And he was like, why don't you just, apply for different things and consider a different business model? So when I was up for a position at the LA firm, it was eat what you kill, like rev share based. And I told him, I was like, I can't do that because, we have a baby now. And he's like, why wouldn't you do that? Do you believe in yourself? Why not bet on yourself? So I did that. He was still at his job, doing mortgages. He's a mortgage banker. Then when I told him, okay, we need to start our own firm. I see the vision. I really want to do this, but I'm not doing it alone. Like, you're doing this with me. You need to quit your job. He's like, okay, without hesitation.
Amazing. It's amazing.
He's employee number one. He will always be. And then number two was Madison, our associate, who's phenomenal. And from there it was Vanessa, and we just kept going. Once you overcome these limiting beliefs on that you are able to hire people, and if you invest in good people, they're worth their salary in gold, and they'll continue to help grow the company. So you don't have to do everything.
It's amazing. This is a hill I will die on. The person that you choose to spend your life with is, I think, the biggest, most important decision, because it will either make or break a lot of big life decisions. We all have autonomy, but when you say, I want to do this thing, and they say, yes, you should, or I'm not sure, and they say, no, you got this, why would you not do that? And it's the person closest to you. It's everything.
Yeah. That makes me emotional, because there probably are so many women out there who've had very similar conversations, or men too. You have a conversation with your spouse, right? Honey, I have this amazing idea. Why don't I start my own company? Why don't we start it together? Let's try this. And the reaction is, are you effing crazy? No. Yeah. We need our salary. We need health care. We need health insurance. We just had a baby. No. And now,
and those would all be very reasonable, things, and probably based on their own limiting beliefs and stories, but that could change the trajectory of your entire life, because you could say either, okay, yep, babe, that's good, or no, I'm going to go do this anyway. And that could go a million different ways.
Totally. And I will say, I had this idea pop into my head like really early. I just left Denton's, and I had a vision, Lauren. I was like running, and it like hit me that, oh my gosh, we could start a company. And I called him on my run. I was like, Adam, like, we're probably going to start a law firm one day. And he was like, yeah, this is where I came in. Are you crazy? Like, we just had a baby. So like, talk about, like timing. So, but because it was a lot. But then once we said, okay, there's proof of concept. I had my own clients. It's not, totally, coming from that place of like, okay, there is fear. There's always fear, but looking at it reasonably. Francesca, you've tested it. You have clients. If we moved, like, he's very risk adverse. And so because of that, he said yes, but we had a plan. We actually hired Britt to help us before we launched the firm, build a roadmap that we could see. And he wanted to launch it like a year later. And Britt was like, Adam, let's go. Like, so then we did it much sooner.
That's amazing. That's amazing. She's awesome.
She's the best.
I'd love to know what would your advice be if someone is sitting right now, they're in big law and they're like, I have this inkling that I do want to start my own firm and then I would be successful at it. What steps do you think they should take while still in that big law role, money wise, mindset wise, to set themselves up for success when they
I think it relates just to the last point that I wasn't telling Adam, let's just go start a firm like right out of big law or when we weren't ready. So to get to here from here, you need to go here. So in the middle, I would say just go out and build your network, build your brand, post on LinkedIn. It's very possible. And hopefully you're in an environment where they support it. And even if you're not, you got to get out there. You have to, because I understand you're supposed to be, billing and they want you in the office, which, doesn't really translate well with going out and getting business because it takes so much of your time to do lunch and dinners and whatever else it is that you're doing, speaking events and content. But I would say start there. Start with your brand, posting online and your network so that when you do decide to do something, you'll know you're ready. And you could even try to bring clients in at the firm. I always encourage everyone to go out and bring in your own clients. I want my associates to do it just so they understand what that's like and that they have the confidence. It also gives you freedom if you do decide to leave or if you want to go somewhere else. Even if you go to another big firm, you now have a better chance of lateraling or taking your practice to another firm because you have a book and you have more options.
So good. It's so good. Hey, let's be honest. Are you a high-functioning attorney or law student, but kind of low-key exhausted, maybe successful on paper, but secretly wondering, is this it? That's exactly why I created the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. It is a 6-day reset for lawyers and law students who are done with burnout, chaos, money, energy, and just running on fumes. For 6 days, we reset your mindset, your money, and your nervous system because we cannot build true wealth and have great health if we are living in survival mode. It's just the fact of the matter. And because I am that kind of girl, we end with a virtual yoga session with the Aman Costigan. So you're not just wealthy on paper, you're regulated, grounded, and actually enjoying your life. This is not about hustling harder. It's about recalibrating everything so your wealth and your health can feel calm, aligned, and sustainable. If you're ready to enter your wealthy lawyer era without burnout, join me inside the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. 6 days, one reset, a completely different relationship with money, your health, and your success. Check out the show notes or go to my Instagram to learn more about the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. I was watching a recent podcast episode you were on, and you said something that really stood out to me. It was something to the effect of, this is all temporary. Enjoy your life.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the ride. Can you expand on what that means to you?
Yeah, maybe it was like COVID and having like a 2-month early baby in the middle of like the craziness of what was going on at the hospital at that time. But I feel like I woke up. I'm a very different person than I was pre-COVID and now. There's one thing that's true about this life, and that it is temporary.
Yeah.
It truly is. And there's no person at the end of their life has ever said, oh, I wish I worked more, or I wish I spent more time at the office. While we are, of course, professionals and passionate about what we do, you need to find the joy in what it is.
Yeah.
That is not the same as pleasure. What we're doing is very hard, it's challenging, and it's painful. But the pain is not the same thing as suffering. You don't need to look at challenges and struggles as suffering. You can kind of trick yourself, which I have another clip I'll send you, Lauren, of a hack that I do where I've kind of just accepted that this next level is really, it's painful. It's hard to scale a company. It's a lot more problems, but the problems lead to breakthroughs, lead to more clarity, and it leads to growth. So now when something happens that's a problem, I will give radical gratitude for the problem. And I'll jump up and down and I'll just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for this problem. Show me what it needs, what I need to learn from it. And then even just like doing that, like this, it gets your heart elevated and it gets you breathing and oxygen. Because otherwise you're just like this and you're tense and you're stressed and it spirals. But if you literally just jump up and down like a crazy person, thanking, giving thanks, and then for the problem, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that's a good thing, right? And you just kind of forget about it and you move on because life is full of problems. We choose the problems. And as lawyers, we're very fortunate that we're dealing with problems where we could have a higher salary. And, you know, there's so many blessings of being a lawyer. So I think that's what it is like, remember to enjoy the ride. And it's not escaping the problems. That is your mission. You know, it's how to get through them and not through suffering and finding the lesson and the joy in the journey.
Oh my God. Mic drop. I mean, that just gave me chills. And I think it's such a good reminder to all of us that this is all temporary and that we get to do the things that we do and we get to help the people we get to help. And I love that. I'm definitely going to start implementing that for myself and in our team, because it is all perspective. It's all how we view things. So, oh my God.
There's not one
so
company that doesn't have are you kidding me? It's the opposite. I realize that as we're scaling, right? Because we're in scale mode, like, but there's businesses, these guys are like, bro, this is another day. Like, there's women that are like, this is the reality now. I'm not going to let this one lawsuit or this one thing, you know. I have a friend who got sued, and it was her first lawsuit, and she was so upset. And, you know, it's like, think of how many lawsuits Kim Kardashian has to deal with, or Google, right? Like, the bigger you get, problems is a part of the journey. Problems, especially for lawyers, we're dealing with problems all day. So I think once you lean into that, you can find pain and suffering are not the same, and you could choose joy even though you're dealing with painful, not so comfortable situations.
Yeah, it's almost like a recalibration. That was so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Francesca, this has been amazing. As I expected, I'm so happy that you took the time to sit down with us today and share your journey and the mindset, you know, strategies that you've implemented to grow and continue to scale your firm and just live life. It's, you know, live.
What we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Where can everyone find out more about you and your firm?
Follow me on Instagram. I think that's the best. I post a bunch of content. I'm at the Trademark Attorney. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, and you can also follow our law firm. It's at ESCA.legal, and we're also on LinkedIn. We have a really cool event coming up on April 10th in New York. We do a modern brand protection event. We have bunch of in-house counsel speakers and attorneys from Louis Vuitton, Estee Lauder. We have a bunch of entertainment companies, A24. We're really excited about this. And if you want to learn more, you can go to esca.legal/escapades 2026. And I'm going to cut this out. I was going to say there's early bird tickets. Make sure you go to get your tickets, and we hope to see you there.
Amazing. We love Louis Vuitton and all of the above. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy we got to chat. I can't wait to meet you in person one of these days. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Legal and Wealthy. If today's episode sparked something in you, take it one step further. Share it, leave a review, or come connect with me inside the Legal and Wealthy community. Remember, wealth isn't just about the numbers. It's about how you lead, how you live, and how you build beyond the billable. You already have what it takes to create real freedom and wealth. I'm just here to help you claim it.